Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
TFG Cricket is an IVM production, and if you have enjoyed this episode, you can also check out their other awesome shows like the Rediscovery Podcast, where Ambika and Hoshner looks back at their travel experience and journey across India.
You're listening to TFG Cricket.
Hello guys, welcome to a new episode of TFG Cricket Podcast. My name is Nikhil. I have Vivek Krishnan with me in the studio. I have CP Thomas joining us from London. पहली बार अपना ऐसा पॉडकास्ट पूरा वर्ल्ड में ऐसा फैल रहा है.
बस इंडिया हार गया ना लंदन में तो CP was very very upset. He said he'll do the podcast straight from London. So CP, how's it going?
It's very good, very good. I mean, India could have won. That would have been much better, but as we know how it played out.
Okay. So today's episode is basically we are reviewing the Champions Trophy. We could have done without it, but since Pakistan has won, we have to say the compulsory congratulations.
No, regardless, even if India would have come out on top, I would have said this was without any doubt the worst Champions Trophy ever in history. No doubt about it, and I've got my reasons. We'll obviously discuss as we go along.
Okay. So, but overall, now since Vivek has said that it was the worst, CP, what are your thoughts? Was it up to the mark? The Champions Trophy as a whole, not the finals.
No, the Champions Trophy as a whole. I'm not comparing with the other Champions Trophies and saying it's the worst or the second best or third last or whatever. See, the whole thing is there are 8 champions playing. So, unfortunately, there are only 8 or 10 countries playing in the cricket, which matter in world cricket. And you have 8 teams playing. It's a knockout format. It's like every match is important. So, you can't have a whole tournament where you're dependent on the rain for results. So each team goes with a strategy for every match, and then the rain upsets it. Okay, in the second half of the tournament, all matches were played to the full and all, but by that time the tone had been set. Now whether Australia, South Africa would have gone into the semis or not, it's a debatable thing. But the fact remains that the league stage was rain marked, and that didn't help at all. It's at a tone where, ठीक है यार, जो भी हो रहा है, 1 point मिलेगा, net run rate, whatever, 4 teams will come into the semis. Let's see what happens. So in that matter, it was one of the worst. There's no doubt about it. Okay. Because everybody had lost interest in the league stage itself.
And I think that also affected the toss because, after the first half where rain actually, spoiled a lot of games, most of the captains opted for second fielding first because that would bring, DL into consideration and they could actually, I think the match against...
Calculate it. It's much easier to chase when DL comes into play. You have a fixed target, in 20 overs was the minimum you had to play, and, in 20 overs, even if you have a target of 150 nowadays, it's achievable. So it's not because it's almost like a T20 match then. Okay. So it helped the captains which won the toss. There's no doubt about that.
But then where? If not London, if not England, then where?
Then it's not about London, England. The rain could have happened anyway. There's no. But definitely, when you knew that there were chances of rain in a city like London, you should have then considered a different time frame for it or a different city or whatever. But see, what's happened is that once these matches got affected by rain, the whole mood about the tournament was very low. And then it was only about India and England being host countries. India because it's the largest nation watching the sport, and we want India to win, and we were the defending champions. And then it was about England being the host country, and they were a strong side. They were doing well, reached the semis very easily. They were the first to reach the semis. So it was only about these two countries. So for us, Indians, it didn't matter whether it rained or didn't rain or whatever. And for England also, it didn't matter as long as they were in the semis. Now, debating about whether you should have another Champions Trophy, whether these are the best or worst, now that's done and dusted with, so it doesn't make much difference. The fact remains that 4 teams reached the semis. What was thrown up during this tournament was there's nothing like very strong teams in cricket right now. You can see from the results also that each team is capable of beating the other. And unfortunately, I can't pinpoint the reason, there were absolutely no close matches. It was like whoever won on the day, and whether it was Sri Lanka beating India, Bangladesh, or even Pakistan after their first loss to India, like South Africa losing to India, all very one-sided matches. So I'm a little more worried about that than the weather or anything. That there seemed to be no application, even with India losing to Pakistan in the final. It was a flat track. Agreed, Pakistan had a good bowling lineup. It was 338 and it was easily chaseable. It was about hanging around there, making the runs. But you could have played out the first 10 overs. It could have been 24-0 in the first 10 overs and then still you could have gone for it. There's absolutely no need. And when you know that the pace attack of your opposition is good, it's about more application. So some of that seemed to be lacking in most of the teams. South Africa, those run-outs against India. So what's worrying is the quality of cricket. It's not about the rain or anything. So even Australia, they were not up to the mark. So at one level, you don't know which 4 teams should have been in the semis.
Okay, Vivek?
Yeah. So quality of cricket, So actually it's a long discussion. I'm not too sure we can talk about it in this podcast. But I would like to say one thing. Flat wickets. That probably gave rise to poor cricket. Yes, teams that batted first ended up scoring 280, 300, even 330. And on a few occasions, teams chasing hardly any problems. We saw Sri Lanka getting those runs, England in the opener against Bangladesh, all that. But I think I would go back to what I mentioned earlier, the scheduling. It was so bad. Yes, 2013, it was in England and everything went okay. A few interruptions here and there, but it was a very good tournament. But on this occasion, when you know it's early English summer, you get rain in London, sometimes in Wales, and when you understand that the geography of UK, when you know the travel isn't much, if you need to go from Nottingham to Manchester or from London to Southampton or from Southampton to Cardiff, it's just about 2-3 hours maximum, unless of course you're driving from Wales to England. But still, given the expressway, you don't take much time. So my problem was when you don't keep venues on standby, this was inevitable. And then you talk about quality of cricket. I would say blame it on T20. Now, the urgency, the desperation to quicken things up and to get on, to get the move on. I think this is the problem. Every team, and like CP rightly mentioned, at the end of it all, yes, Pakistan won the event, but you still were not convinced about the 4 semi-finalists. And why? How come a team like Bangladesh? Now, yes, I have my set of reservations and all that as far as Bangladesh cricket is concerned, but I cannot understand how a team that got thrashed on 2 occasions, one against England in the opener and then almost against Australia, 4 overs and they were out of the tournament. But they beat New Zealand. New Zealand were atrocious to say the least. The only competitive match they played was against the Aussies. And so this is my problem. Australia, we have taken enough shit over the years watching this game of cricket, but Australia were on the threshold of being knocked out. They were staring at the exit door without even completing a single game. I think that could have taken a tremendous amount of... I was not very happy with the format, and when you know... So what I noticed during the 15-16th over, there was a slight drizzle, and any fool could have looked up and he would have realized, okay, dark clouds were threatening and the few idiots on the field call for drinks. That for me was absolutely deplorable. So you can't, being a professional on the field, yes, you're there to do a job. There are fans screaming and you could see the urgency in the Australian camp. How could you do that? And you expect Bangladesh to play those dirty games. I'm not surprised they did that. I don't expect much from them. So these are the problems, and again, it all boils down to the ICC. Go down the hierarchy, you talk to... I don't know. So this is one major problem. Talking about the competitive spirit or teams not being able to produce a nail-biting thriller, That's again because of T20. Like CP said, you can't play out 10 overs without giving out a single wicket. Go back to basics. Early 1990s, 93, 94, 95, when Mark Greatbatch started this power play thing, first 10, 15 overs, and then Kalu Vitarna and Jayasurya went about the same business. But somewhere in early 2000s, we saw teams were ready to give the first 10 overs to the bowlers. Yes, they were much better bowlers, better conditions. But sometimes you have to go back to your basics, boss. Say, okay, you take the first 10 overs, the next 40 is going to be mine. Because given the dimensions of the field, given the willow that you're carrying in your hand, and the lack of skill in today's bowlers, you can really take them to the cleaners. 10 overs, 20 runs, no loss, not a problem. Next 40 overs, 300 on the board, easily doable. So that should have been the approach. In hindsight, all this analysis is okay, but I think somewhere I'm almost convinced 50 overs is going to become very redundant. So we'll talk about 50 overs in a different podcast, but I just feel the format itself is in serious danger.
Okay. My point was, is this because Australia didn't made it to the semi-finals? That's why we are saying that it was one of the boring Champions Trophy, or why can't we just say that Bangladesh has risen through the ranks?
No, it's see the circumstances are the same for everybody. You got a rain match or whatever, and you lost a point. Fine, let's forget that the league when it shouldn't happen, and 4 semi-finalists have reached the semis in whatever format. Okay, now go by form, go by team strength. India, England, they were up there. England was like supposed to easily walk into the final. India, of course, was the second best team if Australia and South Africa are out of the reckoning anyways. Then what happened? England gets knocked out. I mean, they couldn't put on any runs on the board against the Pakistani attack. So,
but that again, CP, is because Ben Stokes, Josh Butler, these guys were not ready to grind it out there. They were coming out of the IPL, where every second ball had to be deposited deep into the stands. And we have to give credit to Hassan Ali, Junaid Khan and Mohammad Amir. They stuck to their task.
What I'm coming. That's exactly what I'm coming to.
Yes.
So now when you look back at the tournament, there's only one team which had a potent bowling attack, and which could actually come. So we are not willing. Even now you read the media thing, and we are not just willing to admit that Pakistan bowling attack was good.
Absolutely.
It was great.
In fact, CP, South Africa and Australia had a better bowling attack, but when it came to execution, these guys were far ahead. They out-thought, out-planned and out-foxed. Everything fell into...
Absolutely. And that was the reason for the one side. See, even if we just analyze the India-Pakistan match, one, we go into the match as favourites. Because we have beaten Pakistan in all ICC events. We have a better batting lineup. Now comes this 2 myths. One myth is from the warm-up matches when we were in England. This myth, Shami took 3 wickets and headline screaming, Virat has a problem of which bowlers to choose. This whole myth that, my God,
and then
Shami,
eventually he had to go back to Kedar Jadhav and himself, CP. Yeah. Now that is the strength we're talking about.
Yeah. So you start believing yourself all these, instead of analyzing how good they are against other batsmen, you started thinking that, my God, such a potent bowling attack, ye to koi bhi team ko uda dega. And what happened? I mean, you just couldn't get any wickets.
Yeah.
Newcomers, that's one thing. One myth. Second myth, what a batting lineup. Top 3 will chase down any. Virat, the king of chasing. I mean, you can't start believing this. Each match is different. 338, no problem. But 338 against whom? Against a potent bowling attack. What happened? What everybody feared. There is no middle order. Shikhar Dhawan, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli.
In fact, CP, if you look at, not a single team had a decent middle order.
Exactly, but
only England had a formidable middle order. But again, they were outgunned.
Now, you see, the thing is, Sri Lanka chased us down after being 30 for 4 or whatever. Okay? Yeah. The thing is, the middle order also has to apply themselves. If Virat and Shikhar are back in the pavilion and Rohit is back in the pavilion, whoever comes down has to hang around. The pressure can't get onto you. You can chase down a thing. The only decent chase like that has been that Yuvraj and Kev chasing down in that NatWest final.
Yeah.
So you can do it. In this age, when you have all the strokes, when you have played T20 so much, it's just about hanging around there. And you have a batting lineup going down to Jadeja.
Precisely why, CP, even you see teams struggling in test matches. 40 for 3 and they can't
rebuild.
They can't rebuild. They can't resurrect the innings. This is a problem worldwide. Yes, we can blame the Indians.
This is a transition phase in cricket where finally things will settle down to only test cricket or T20, or we'll just have club cricket. Now the leagues South Africa has launched their T20 league. So every 2 months you will actually have leagues running into each other.
Yeah.
So you're talking about club cricket a lot, and it's only going to grow because all the money is there. So whether you will have only specialists, so you can have specialists in tests and specialists in T20. Where does 50 over come into play? So you have a guy who is good at tests and good at T20 getting into 50. So right now, these are what the cricket administrators have to look into. But each of these teams will have to analyze. See, you can't come back and say, okay, this happened, it was a bad day off and therefore we lost the final for India or for England. It's a much deep-rooted problem than that. It's about Ashwin. What is the need to play Ashwin on a flat track?
Yeah.
Absolutely no need.
Well,
because you needed variation.
Yes,
that's why Kedar Jadhav and Jadeja were more effective.
Not to say that the result would have been any different, but yes, a few technical errors on Virat's part, and we also need to be we need to empathize with Virat here, because one bad game, CP, doesn't make you a poor captain or doesn't make you a bad player, and this is the problem with our Indian media. So people have been going hammer and tongs at Virat Kohli, and when I heard the post-match press conference, he came across as a very composed guy who's ready to mature as a captain. A few years ago, he was not willing to accept reality and take the blow on your chin and move on. But the way he answered and there were some very difficult, tricky questions thrown at him. He accepted failure. He said we were not a good team and Pakistan outplayed us. But what I didn't like about Virat Kohli was his defense for Ashwin. Now, if you look at Ashwin's numbers, last 10 ODIs he's picked up only 9 wickets. Yes, he was right when he said people are slogging you across the line, and there was no assistance for Ashwin and Jadeja in England. But again, talk about memory and how poor it is in India. People start writing. People don't know before he left for England, he played 5-6 ODI matches here in India. Didn't do too much either. If you remember, it was Jadeja who was the chief destroyer of the England and Australian batting attack, and not Ashwin. So the defense, yes, you wanted to play Ashwin because he's your number one spinner or he's your leading strike bowler. But the defense, in my opinion, was very, very poor. And I genuinely feel now that the team is in the Caribbean, you will have wickets aiding spinners. And if he doesn't click there, I think it's time for some other wrist spinner to come in and take Ashwin's spot.
See, I'm not. I've given an example of Ashwin, or I give example of the top order batting failing. See, finals of matches are equally won in the dressing room before you get out on the field. Okay, this thing about it was a winning combination against South Africa, so we go in with the same team.
And you don't blame Virat then?
Okay, huh?
You don't blame the selection then? I mean,
no,
why?
I would, because against South Africa, Ashwin didn't win us the match. 3 run-outs, 1 out the match.
Yes.
Okay.
Now that is logic. But you don't fix.
That is logic. No. The thing is, you assume that, okay, we did well, this is the team, let's not change it. But you're playing Pakistan, who, for them, what is an Ashwin on a flat wicket?
Yeah. They're going to milk him away, and they did that.
They did that. As simple as that. There's absolutely no logic in it.
Yeah.
So you really have to think through the situation. You really have to think. See, that's sometimes that slight dividing line between confidence and overconfidence is what got India. It was our match to win or our match to lose.
Our match to lose,
There
rather.
is no.
Yeah,
Absolutely, our match to lose.
in fact,
Yeah, so
once
there
England
was,
once England went out, it was our trophy. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, how much ever explanation you give, how much ever gracious Virat was, fact remains that we lost the trophy. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we handed it to them.
And blame the pitches as much as you want. Blame the conditions.
There's nothing in that pitch.
Yes.
I mean,
but again, the fact remains that Pakistan, we know what they are capable of doing. They were ranked number 8. They were the last team to qualify. In fact, there was a fight between West Indies and Pakistan. They edged out the West Indies in the very last week. And in the end, they made a mockery of ICC rankings. Again, do the rankings matter? CP here.
Vivek, we have discussed this before also. See, if you have to give trophies on rankings, then the number one ranked team could have just been
Then South Africa will be having a cabinet full of trophies.
Exactly. So it is about playing the big matches, how you conduct yourself during those big matches, and how you use the limited or excess resources that you have. Like with this final itself, Pakistan had limited resources, but they used it excellently, while we had plenty of resources and we just didn't know how to do.
The great irony again, they had arguably the worst batting attack on pitches that were tailor-made for batsmen, and it was their bowlers who won them the trophy.
And the fact is that we underestimated them even after their win against England.
Yes, we did.
So,
We did.
Yeah. So after that win against England, any coach, any captain, any Dhoni should have sat and said, "Boss, it theek nahi hai. These guys are good." What did everyone write about the England-Pakistan match? That Ben Stokes couldn't middle the thing. The middle order of England failed. The openers gave a good stand, but
many called it a fluke.
There was never a line about how great Pakistan's bowling was and how determined they were and how they won the match.
Yes, and
so
CP,
everyone believed what they wanted to believe.
And all this without playing a lot of international cricket. What we forget time and again is, yes, there is a boycott. Nobody plays cricket in Pakistan. People don't invite Pakistan much either. So they have only two options. Either you play in the UAE or you play in some league. There again you have problems. You don't see too many Pakistanis playing in Australia. Obviously there is no entry for any one of them in the Indian Premier League. So where do they go? They straight away finished PSL, had a brief tour of the West Indies and into the Champions Trophy.
But I'll tell you, this was the main reason for them to in the bottom, the ranking that you spoke about.
Because they are not playing.
They are not playing. That's why they were 8.
They are not playing. Yeah.
These are factors like the developed countries in the world, like the UK, US and all, don't want to know what's happening in the third world, and they conveniently want to ignore udhar kya ho raha hai, whether innovation is happening or whether that country is doing wonderful. Just like that, India is the developed country in cricket. It's the top of the... But you don't want to know what's happening in Pakistan. You just think, ठीक है, चल रहा है कुछ तो कभी भी मार सकते हैं उनको. And ICC tournament में तो हमेशा मारते हैं. Yesterday at the Cricket South Africa League launch, there was, I forget his name, the owner of one of the teams.
Javed Afridi.
He said, I think he said, you guys thought, who is this fucker Zaman?
Oh yes, and CP, we at the Fan Garage, so because we do fantasy, we have been talking about Fakhar Zaman, Shadab Khan, all these guys. So Nikhil, there is a smile on Nikhil's face as we talk about these guys. So yeah, and the other thing is, he credited Brendan McCullum for his innings. He said, I opened with McCullum in the PSL and he showed me how to bat up the order.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Brendan McCullum was doing the commentary.
Yeah. So, you don't want to know these things. Because you are so confident about yourself and you're batting like 338. Or you should have heard the commentators. Virat, ideal stage for Virat, the king of chasing.
Yeah.
And I mean, यार थोड़ा तुम come to ground level यार. ऐसा नहीं रहता है. You have to make runs. And जो 10 साल पहले किया या 2 महीने पहले किया doesn't matter today. Today is today.
Yeah.
But I'm though I would have loved India to win the trophy, I'm very glad that Pakistan won.
That
for the
is
simple
the
reason
only positive, CP, coming out of the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
the
else.
best positive, and it's great. At least 4 more new superstars have been born.
Yeah.
People will start noticing them.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they would have, even if Fakar had hit a double century and India had won, nobody would even care about it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And these bowlers would have also been lost in this, thinking India has, squashed Pakistan. So, at that level for cricket, it's the best thing that happened. Just like West Indies winning the World T20, at that stage.
Yes.
So, good for cricket, no doubt about it. But
not good for the format.
Great learnings for the top teams.
Yes.
Australia, South Africa, India, England. There's no doubt about it.
I'm not too sure about South Africa's learning.
But do you think is there any future for Champions Trophy, because there are already reports coming in that it might be scrapped?
Yeah, let's see. I'll tell you, in cricket now, there's no point making predictions because ICC themselves doesn't know.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Don't know what to do. Yeah. See, and it is not a problem. See, you are struggling with a peculiar problem, a unique problem across sports. That you have a game where there are 3 formats. Okay, 3 formats se ho to theek hai. Then you have a thing called bilateral series. Okay, so what do you do in this? So it's not going to be easy, the transition. There will be the guys who will say test cricket chahiye. There will be the guys who say T20 is the money spinner, let's go after that. So transition will be a 4-5 year long process. Within that, even a Champions League after IPL, that has been scrapped. So Champions Trophy bhi jayega. You never know, but
eventually the
point
50 over
making
World Cup
predictions.
will also go.
Absolutely, it could go.
Yeah, because if you don't play too many ODIs and then you run up to the main event, that's somehow not logical at all. Because you will see suddenly cricketers turning into mercenaries. There are quite a few already, and given what happened yesterday, we saw tremendous response. All these leading cricketers, Dwayne Bravo, who couldn't walk 15 days ago, was in London. So we know where it is heading. Kya hone wala hai?
Yeah, I would be a free agent. I can play IPL, I can play CPL, I can play PSL, I can play Global League now, Big Bash, and now 2020 mein England ka league aa raha hai.
Yes.
I mean, why should I run around trying to win accolades for your country and all? Doesn't even matter.
Yes.
So if you are good, if you are in the top 20, either as a bowler or either as a batsman, more a batsman, you can milk money in the next 3-4 years. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So I think everything will take its own course, and of course money will determine a lot of things, what will remain and what will go.
Yeah.
And because if people are coming in and putting in money to all these franchises and they are seeing, one, returns on their money, second, they are contributing to the growth of the game, they'll rather put money into T20 and the leagues rather than trying to, have a Champions Trophy. And
But what about us fans, CP? Unless the fans realize, I'm pretty sure many must not have realized what they saw in England over 2 weeks was pretty average. Now, this is a problem. This is the problem. See, CP, when you have color clothing and when you talk about one-day cricket, and that obviously includes T20 also, you will see people turning out in large numbers. Now, regardless of the quality. Whereas you call for a 3-day test match somewhere in Australia, South Africa, you won't see such a massive turn-up. Even if the quality is of great standard. This is a problem. So unless the fans start, if you give them shit and they're ready to accept it, nobody can help it. And I think that's where the ICC will thrive. That is my problem. So unless you clean up the internal mess and people start realizing, fans again, for example, you see the IPL happening in India, and you will see people who have absolutely no connection with what is happening. They're just going there to see those towering sixes. Now, there has to be, I don't know who's going to do this cleanup. No, I'm okay with the market. I am okay with the market. But then, CP, the problem is, if you're talking about globalizing the game, then why do you keep a team like an Afghanistan or West Indies away? Now, that is not globalization. What Champions Trophy are you talking about? 8 teams? What happens if 2 more teams get added? You see the quality of cricket from Afghanistan. They're doing wonders. I mean, just to make it more competitive. So, on one hand, you're saying, okay, this is the future. This is what we are going to do as a governing body. And then very conveniently, you eliminate 2 teams, which West Indies, if they could win the T20 here in India, they had no chance. They could have won the Champions Trophy as well, Nikhil.
Yeah.
I mean, if Pakistan can do it, why not West Indies? So, this is the problem with the ICC. They will keep doing...
See, I will slightly disagree. See, the format of the tournament was 8 teams. Now, out of, during the last 4 years, 2 teams like West Indies was always there. And Afghanistan have, gained recognition and are doing well. So the thing is about World Cup football going from 32 to 64 teams. So you realize that over a period of time it has to be increased. So you do it. There are lot of countries saying the World Cup should be only 16 teams, top 16 teams.
Yeah.
So because it's too long a tournament, 32 teams playing over a month. Yeah. So this kind of arguments will always be there. For cricket, what is important is there is like Nikhil said, there's a new market in T20.
Yeah.
So whether finally money is going to determine all this, because if the new market is giving the money and test market is dropping, nobody is going to put money into test market.
I'm fine with that.
It is going to...
No, I'm fine with that. But then what happens? Okay. I understand there is limited money for test matches. It's a great tragedy, and I have to say it with heavy heart. But if you look at the quality of ODI cricket, CP, what we saw in England was subpar. It was very, very substandard. And if still the sponsors, the advertisers, the broadcasters are pouring in money into ICC's basket, they will willingly say, okay, bucket full of popcorns and we'll give you average stuff. And the fans will again flock to the stadium.
The flat wickets.
This is exactly in another context I had read this line. It's like saying Bodyguard of Salman Khan made 300 crores and Gangs of Wasseypur made 35 crores. So which is the better movie?
There you go. जिसने भी लिखा बहुत सही लिखा.
So see, the market wants Bodyguard, so how does it matter? You can't do anything, and the market is driven by brand. So all this, and it's bad to be ICC right now. It's bad needs ICC, any administration. It's a bad situation to be in.
It's a curse.
टेस्ट चलाओ 50 ओवर चलाओ चैंपियंस अभी इतना ट्रॉफीज हो गया they don't know what to do
and in that there are so many leagues that are coming up which are overpowering them financially.
Exactly. So it will take its own due course of time before things settle down, and I'm sure finally you have to let the market decide that I want to see T20 and this is what works. I mean, this is what happened in even at tennis. Doubles became very long, so they shortened to a 10-point decider. So these things will evolve, and I was the year then tennis doubles was shortened, and there are so many players who were up in arms. So, but it didn't matter because ATP said nobody's watching it. And one of the main reasons was that the top players are not playing doubles because it's too long and tiring. But they shortened and no top player is still playing, so it doesn't matter.
And what bugs me is still Leander and Mahesh made money.
हाँ तो ठीक है ना तो किसको यार you don't worry, don't get personal about all
no I mean the display on screen was pathetic, and for that they made I don't know, okay,
Anyway, yeah, this can go on and on.
So, no, but one more thing remains. This was the best ever chance for Virat to open his ICC trophy cabinet. And it was like God sent. After England were thrown out by Pakistan, abhi he has to wait till 2019.
Hoga ki nahi? Acha, okay, hoga.
And the media is waiting here in Bombay.
No, see, media fans, you can't, extra protection at Dhoni's house and all.
Yes.
Some of these fans should be caught and trashed. There's no doubt about it. They have no
and include some media into it. Yesterday I saw some reports which are वो discuss नहीं करे तो better है. Okay guys, that's the wrap for the show. You can read more on cricket on our website thefangarage.com, where yesterday Vivek wrote an article ki kudos to Pakistan, but this was the worst Champions Trophy that was happening. You can connect us via Twitter at The Fan Garage and on Facebook at The Fan Garage. You can listen to this podcast on IndusVox Media, SoundCloud, iTunes, Audio Booms, and definitely on YouTube. Subscribe, share, like, and comment. Till then, take care, guys.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी.
बोलिए मैडम.
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, टिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर सकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है. आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम. आप जाओ IVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप. सब आपकी उंगलियों पे.